Adam Sherriff, welcome to the IN8 Summit podcast.
Hey, buddy. Good to be here. Good to see you, mate. It's a lovely setup there. I'm really, really impressed. This is super professional, buddy. Take up a few pegs.
I have gone a bit more intense this year. And the cool thing is that all of our listeners now, obviously I'm going to sound like, the Tom Jones and nice, deep, sexy voice with my microphone here. And you're going to sound a bit tinny because you're in I'm guessing, your practice. So that's all cool though. So first of all, thanks for being here, bro. I know you've been my mate for many years and you've been involved with the IN8 Summit on stage and also as an attendee. So tell us this year, man, tell us a bit about you. Like how many times have you been to the IN8 Summit? Tell us about life in general. Like hit us with it.
Well, I love the IN8 Summit. I've been every year, right from the initial one where I may have helped you a little bit organise it from when you're in Italy, the first ever one at La Trobe University.
Yep.
So every year I've been, and it's amazing. I love it. It gets bigger and better every year. I was very fortunate to be privileged as one of the exclusive group that got to hang around last year to assist on day 2 when we were virtual. So I can say I've been to every live event and every recorded event, even in the recording part. So it's really cool. I love it. It's something that's always on my calendar every year. I lock it in. I always take the team as well, but for this year my team's got a lot smaller, which is cool. So we'll probably talk about that later.
That's pretty cool.
A big expensive team to just 2 of us now, so that's cool. But no, I love it. I love the IN8 Summit, and I'm very much looking forward to this year having a big group community catch up.
Yeah, it's going to be next level this year. It's going to be awesome. But I have had some survey votes come in saying, is Adam wearing that crazy out of this world jacket again?
I did have it, and I didn't quite make the move up to Queensland. My wife said I probably should cut it. And I said I can wear it on stage again. She goes, nah, it's probably.
Yeah, okay. So that was one-time use only jumpers. If you can't remember, you'll see some of the photos in the past few years. There was a big galumph guy going on stage with his beautiful daughter and had this kind of out of this world kind of fluoro pink, purple, orange kind of jacket. So anyway,
it represented universal intelligence. That's what that was, bro. That's a few minutes from my talk, I know.
I do remember that. Don't worry. So, hey, on that, I'm going to me and you are best of best mates. And I know that, and a lot of our audience know that as well. But those that don't know that much about you, mate, you've kicked ass in many areas. Obviously, you've had one of the busiest practices in Mornington. You knocked out walls. You went open planned. You kind of went up through the ranks, starting from like a wellness chiropractor into more of a vitalistic chiropractor. Then you had 2 associates, and then you basically had a bucket load of staff and took off the whole kind of peninsula really. And then for some reason midway thought, you know what, I'm going to go and reinvent myself and move up north and then start the whole thing from scratch. Like that's a huge effort. Most people will stay in their business for their entire career. So tell us, like, that's pretty huge. And how's it going with starting a new business and selling the old one and letting go of your old clients, as well as starting a new adventure?
Yeah, it's been huge. I'm sure people have heard my story before when I spoke at the IN8 Summit, but we did have the awesome practice in Langwarrin, Victoria. Last year, I guess the catalyst for my move up to Queensland all came because of Tim and Casey's baby Sage being born last year up here in his practice in Gympie. He asked for someone to cover. I said, sure, I'd love to come up in the middle of winter out of Victoria and cover your locum position. And his daughter was quite ill. For those people that saw Tim speak last year, you would have heard that story. But she's amazing now and recovered. But I was very fortunate to then have the time in Queensland where Melbourne kept going into lockdown. So we didn't fancy flying back to Melbourne to enter a lockdown. So we had a 6 to 8 weeks up here, holidaying with my family, and got to experience a Queensland winter and just fell in love with it. Thought the lifestyle and the way of life was too good. And we went back and made back to Victoria in August, made the decision that our life and our 3 kids and more was going to be up in here, up in Queensland. So we had the very tough conversation with our associates, Mike and Olivia, about us leaving. We wanted one of those 2 to buy the practice. They were both very interested, but it worked out best that Olivia has taken over the practice from me, and I'm super stoked about that story. It's been a beautiful story. I'm sure she'll speak more into that and her journey, because it's sort of come full evolution from her being chiropractic patients are now owning the practice, which is cool.
No, you mentioned before about the Latrobe terrace thing. She's told that story a few times, and I'm not going to give it too much away because it might be part of her talk this year. But yeah, kind of, she was one of her eye-opening moment for chiropractic was back at Latrobe at the very first IN8 Summit, and then to see her go full circle in 6-7 years. Now she owns her own rocking business in Langwarrin is pretty amazing. So good job.
Yeah, she's taking that over and is kicking butt and doing really well. And just the university's kept providing these amazing opportunities for us up here in Queensland to make it made it hard for us to say no. Tim was looking for an associate and didn't, unbeknownst to him, he sort of mentioned to me fleeting that you know anyone, and I had already had the idea in my head I wanted to come up, move up here. So I'm now, I've gone from owner of managing associates to now being an associate. So I'm actually here. This is Tim's practice in Gympie right now where I am.
Oh, cool.
Which is cool. So I'm up here associated with him, doing an associate position with him a day and a half a week, which is going really good. He's got an awesome team, and we're smashing it. He's smashing it up here, and the team are doing really well serving the Gympie community. And my wife and I have just bought the Noosa Junction chiropractic practice off Ben Phillips, which has been awesome. So my wife and I'm in there with no CA. It's just us rocking it solo at the moment and starting from very humble beginnings. And you're looking forward to continue to grow that practice and serve the Noosa community as well.
What's cool about that is that many people talk about, it's kind of an old almost proverb in the chiropractic industry is, you get a 500 a week chiropractor and put them into a practice that's seeing 50 a week and you watch the practice grow, or you see a chiropractor that's kind of been seeing 50 a week for many years and put them in a place seeing 500 and you watch the practice drop. So it's kind of that energetic component of the person. You've been well and truly in the high volumes before, seeing 300 or 400 a week in the past, and whatever you were seeing, I'm not going to put numbers in your head, but you've been busy before, and to kind of start from scratch, I think it's going to be a big addition for our stage this year to be able to kind of show those people, those that haven't got the big teams, haven't got the big, overhead capacity or expense budget, to go, wow, actually Adam's starting from pretty humble beginnings and he's done the work on himself before in the past. And I'm excited to see how you do grow both your own practice as well as helping to maintain Timmy's. So is there much of that in your talk this year, or any other things you can elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about that. I'll touch on that. I've got a couple, we've only just sort of really taken it over, so I've got a couple more months to keep cranking the practice up there. So I guess I'll reveal the stats and figures and stuff when we get to October, which will be cool. But predominantly my talk this year is going to be, I guess, some findings and discoveries of myself and what I identified, I guess, how chiropractors can have successful practices and some of the real identifying traits within that. So I spoke into this a little bit at Concordia. For those at Concordia, I spoke about adversity quotient, an emotional quotient, which is basically your IQ, your emotional EQ, and your AQ, which is basically how emotionally intelligent you are with your emotions, other people's emotions. But the adversity one's a big one. So how do you handle times of stress? Are you someone that can handle a lot of adversity, or are you someone that brings a lot of drama and chaos to their life? And just really identify, and I sort of knuckle down to that. So I'll go into that a little bit more at the IN8 Summit, but also give you some tools and stuff to go away with this time, which I didn't get to with the time I had speaking at Concordia. We'll give you some tools to identify where you sort of sit and what you can do to improve yourself in certain areas to ensure that you're going to give yourself the best chance to be successful in practice and serve your patients in the best way possible.
So what you're saying is there's kind of like a difference between like your smart IQ versus your EQ, which I'm guessing is like your EQ and your AQ are different as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. I is for intelligence, IQ. EQ is your emotion, and A is your adversity. Because you'll see all the time, I've been in different coaching groups and different systems. You can have the exact same systems, put them into 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 different practices. Some practices will flourish, others will just plateau. So it's not the system, but the system's help, of course. It gives you the platform or the vehicle to move it, but you as the driver or the chiropractor have got to have the nous and the determination to drive that thing. And I think that's where I've sort of tried to identify that it's not a technique, it's not a system. Whether you're successful or not comes from you.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool, I think.
So then, obviously, so what you're saying is that my IQ is not that important. My EQ or my AQ is more important.
Well, now you've graduated, yeah. For those students, like, keep up with the IQ. Don't let your nothing brain go too hard there. I know you like to justify that, but just
Adam and I have known each other for many years. I pretty much got him through university, to be honest. So that's why the IQ comment's quite interesting. Yeah. And over a beer, I'll tell you more about that. Anyway, so that's cool, man. And so you've mentioned before that you brought your team in. I mean, as I said, Olivia and Mike got butt naked on stage last year, and he's always been a performer. Olivia has been a rock star, and actually when I asked her to speak this year, I heard her at one of the Wonder Nights programs, and she smashed it for the students. So I'm really excited to hear her side of the story. But your team, tell us on like a Monday morning in the past, and then hopefully this year when you bring you and Jackie along, what have you noticed before about the IN8 Summit? What kind of shift have you noticed in their practice, or with your just the general vibe and culture amongst your group? So tell us more about that.
Yeah, because it's become a bit of a tradition for us to always go to the IN8 Summit. And we'd always go in with it. I'd always pre-frame before we go to the IN8 Summit with the group of what are we going to be looking for this year. And I sort of got this idea, I think it was from Visma, I used to do it with his team where they go to Chiro Europe every year. It's just, so you go there to have some fun, party, blow off a bit of steam, but also enjoy a bit of time together and get re-dipped into the chiropractic principles. But I'd go before we'd go to the IN8 Summit that week prior, just let the team know, hey, let's look out for how we can serve our patients better was one of the things one year, like what we can do to sort of really level our service up. Let's pick and get some ideas off all the speakers. Or one year I think we did how we're going to increase our internal referrals. I really want you guys to think about it and really sort of look out for that from all the speakers or anyone you speak to. And then following the IN8 Summit, we'd come back and sort of brainstorm some of the different notes that everyone had and their own experiences, their own favourite speaker, their own, whether it was meditation or a favourite thing from the weekend, or whether it was just spending some time as a group having a few drinks afterwards. So it's always cool, and it's just not, and then that would, I guess the fruits of the IN8 Summit would lead on for months later because we keep sort of picking it apart and delving into it, and sometimes even going back and re-watching some of the things as well that we might have missed, or some of the gold that we might have missed that someone else picked up on, go back and re-watch. So it was huge. And then of course I'd always buy my tickets at the end of the summit. So Olivia's got the wicked position that I've already prepaid for the whole team's tickets.
No, so you've pretty much paid twice. You've had to buy all the team tickets last year when you still own the practice, and now Olivia's going to take them there and get more of it, which is a good little thing you've kind of passed on. And I'm the first one to say, like, my team have been every year, and actually when we hire my team members, often will say on the interview, it's like, have you got the dates of the October 1st and 2nd? And because the dates had changed recently, I said, have these dates locked in? And when they start with us, they have to be ready to come to that IN8 Summit. It's kind of like it's their onboarding process in their first 12 months of being with us. So I love the fact that you do bring the team, and I know it's an investment for a lot of practices out there. And I know obviously we're trying to kind of encourage more teams to come, but let's face it, like teams that do come, they just, on Monday morning, they're just a whole new level of fun and a whole new level of like, man, I get the why behind this thing called chiropractic is there. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, man. I know you've been one of our biggest supporters, and I know that you see the value.
It's also a lot easier to hear the chiropractic message from someone else, I think, like when it's your team.
Yeah.
It's sort of, I use the same analogy. It's like hearing the message from your mum and dad of whatever it is. When you hear it from someone else, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Or you sometimes will have that, with your kids, you'll be explaining something to your kids, and then the auntie or uncle or someone else will say the exact same thing, but it's like the penny drops. Just hearing it from someone different. So from you being the chiropractor or the principal, always drumming that chiropractic, the philosophy of what our why is into your team, even though you might be saying the right stuff, it's just nice to have that reinforcement from 10, 20 other speakers sort of singing from the same hymn book, so to speak.
Yeah,
it just does that job. Yeah. And then they'll share their miracle stories, and that solidifies it even more that this stuff just doesn't happen in our practice. It happens because of chiropractic and innate intelligence connecting with the human beings.
Yeah, and let's face it, us cars, we're fucking weird. Like, it's like we're kind of in that world of we all come together, we're huggers, we're kisses, we're high-fiving. As soon as you walk in there, it's like even last few years, there's COVID, but like as soon as there's a car, hey, there's no handshakes, there's always high fives and hugs. And you have your team seeing that, and then you kind of, they think you're weird when there's only one car in your practice, but then when you start seeing 10 and 15, 20 and 30 and 50 cars coming together, like, man, all you guys are crazy. So it is good for them to kind of feel how much that energy is buzzing. So, all right, that's awesome. Thank you. And obviously Jack's coming this year. She's obviously been a mum for a couple of years now, and in the same shoes as Gabby, where it's kind of hard to get out and about, but I'm guessing she's pretty excited. And why are you bringing her?
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to Sydney. I think we're going to bring the kids. We'll bring the whole team down. Now the kids are a bit older. That'll be fun.
Yep.
But yeah, Sydney's going to be good. I'm looking forward to a bit of an adventure there, a bit of a holiday as well. So it's a good location change, I think, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. And we're going top shelf this year, which is pretty cool. I keep saying that because, like, you're going to hear me say on every single one of these podcasts, because I honestly believe that I said this from the dawn of the IN8 Summit, that we have got this amazing golden product called chiropractic. We've been selling it as carbon for so many years, and we need to be better. Like, we just get the scraps of the healthcare from the other healthcare providers like doctors and GPs and surgeons and physios and everyone else. But like, what we have is absolute gold. And so I think we've got to elevate our understanding of how good we are. And that's kind of why the IN8 Summit this year, we're going 5-star. And yes, there's going to be valets. And yes, there's going to be some really nice, if you're into wine, some great wine. If you're into food, there's going to be some great food. If you want some good scenery, it's going to be great scenery. Like, the whole thing is going to be no expense spared. So I want to make sure that we all know just how damn awesome we are as chiropractors. And we're going to elevate us and hopefully elevate the profession. So, yeah, man, it's awesome for you coming that. And then, so tell me, in regards to, you've been every year, which is awesome. You said that when you speak to the team, like, let's try and have a focus and aim for us to focus on what could be internal referrals, or it could be, how to bring in more new clients. What about you as a human being right now, as a chiropractor, as a dad? What things are you looking forward to getting out of this year's IN8 Summit?
Well, the number one thing is just reconnecting again. Like, we're hoping to have, well, you said you're hoping to have 500 plus people there. Like, that's going to be so cool. The last event I went to that size was Chiro Europe a couple of years ago, and it's just, the energy is just palpable at something like that. It's unreal. Like, last year we had 50 to 100 maybe there in Geelong, so that little small Victorian, I guess, version of it. And that was a nice time to celebrate. Everyone's pretty excited there, but yeah, I'm mostly excited about getting back and connecting with everyone again. That's what I think a lot of people have lost as individuals in the last couple of years because of all this BS. But to be able to get together, and not only with groups of people, but groups of chiropractors as well, is just going to be better again, because we're all vibe on the same energy. And it's wicked for your team to see that, because I can see that you're as authentic in practice as you are out of practice as well. Like, you're just as excited about chiropractic when you're in there adjusting as you are on Friday, Saturday, Sunday night when you're hanging out with your mates, which for a lot of people seems strange. If you were to talk to lawyers or accountants, I bet they're not sitting up late at night talking about accounting and moving their numbers around, you know what I mean? Whereas chiropractors will sit up all night talking about miracle stories and innate intelligence and how awesome chiropractic is and how can I do things better. So that's what I love. I'm just really looking forward to catch up with a few old buddies I haven't seen for a while as well. That just for whatever reason we're in different states and stuff now. It's going to be really cool to have some dinner with them and just share some time and some energy, which is what these things are. Nearly the most gold you get is from the bar or the restaurant afterwards, talking to the speakers and talking to everyone else. So
yeah, no, definitely. And also this year, we've been listening to our attendees for quite a while and doing our surveys. And one thing that we wanted to really hit home hard this year is the CAs. We know that us chiros get the connection point, but the CAs often come almost like as a handbag of the chiropractor. And we want to try and change that this year. So we've got a full contingent, and we're really we want the chiros to almost feel like they're missing out on the CA stream. And we've got some pretty exciting speakers that are going to be delivering some serious intention and some awesome content, but also some connection for the CA. So when they're walking around, they've actually got this, like, almost this team morale mentality when the CAs versus the chiros almost whilst at the seminar, to kind of get excited by that same team bonding. So this year's going to be pretty exciting on that area. Yeah, man, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. It's always a bit of fun. This is probably the most politically correct we've been in quite some time, because we're obviously getting recorded. We've done What's that?
Yeah, I know you're going to be good. Do you know who's going to watch this? Your kids will be watching this in a few years' time, I'm sure.
Yeah, possibly. But there's actually been no swear words, I don't think. Maybe one actually, but that's pretty good for us. So anyway, buddy, I can't wait to see. I'm so proud of what you've done. I think you're going to be adding so much value to the attendees, because you're going to give both sides. You've been big in practice and very, very busy, and a whole team around you, right down to bringing just yourself to the show and showing yourself and others how to grow a practice. So I'm excited about hearing your talk this year, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm just hoping to shed a bit of awareness on sort of what led to me and my journey becoming what it is, and give you some of the tools or any wisdom or information I can give you guys to try and help you. Because that's the thing I get most excited about, is seeing new people coming through, or young people, or people reinventing themselves, growing their practice and serving the community with holistic chiropractic. It's really cool. So
Nice.
can't wait to hang out with all you legends again up there in Sydney. It's going to be wicked.
It is going to
be. Wait to have some fun and some good food and good drinks and good chats.
It's going to be. And we said before about some of the tools that you've learned along the way, or some of those tools you've hung out with. Is that me as well? Am I one of those inspirations of yours?
Yeah, you're definitely a tool for sure.
I gave it to you on a platter there, because I know that you can't kind of catch up with those puns very quickly. So I gave that to you. So
thanks, mate.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks again for being on the podcast, and I can't wait to see you in a few weeks' time, or a few months' time now. And I love you to bits, mate. And yeah, we'll see you very soon.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Love you too. Great work, buddy. Looks like it's going to be an awesome event. Can't wait. Catch you soon, bro.
See you, buddy.